Hey, welcome in 12th episode of JS News. Today with me is Franek,
Hello.
and I think we just will go to the intro then go to the news. So let's get going.
DevSpresso.
Okay, so let's start with the news that is one and big and interesting, which is the new Prettier 3.0. And I got very interested in this. Like I do love Prettier. I do love this whole tool to use it every single day with every single developer. And actually, the 3.0 version is giving us actually one big change. I would say that there are a lot of breaking changes, but one change that is actually big enough. And that's actually changing trailing command that always has been ES5 as far as I remember. They changed it to be all, and that's actually a lot of this is a big change in my opinion. But otherwise, they are actually dropping the flow version, the flow support. Sorry, uh,
Yeah.
which is also a big news. They are dropping support for flow just to mostly support TypeScript. So yeah, that's the change.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll need to discuss it because this change, the Prettier 3.0, is actually based on other smaller tool which they are using underneath, and this is TypeScript Eslint, which is also new, and that's something Franek
Yeah.
can talk about.
I think like the biggest thing about Prettier is that you just run it and you don't care how it looks like and what it does. It's like I really like the fact that you don't even configure it, right? You just drop it into your
Yeah,
code base, you format, and it's very cool because it removed the need to discuss like anything in terms of stylistic choices. And for me, this breaking change, it's like, okay, pipeline is failing because there are changes. So I just go into my code base, I run prettier format, and it works.
done.
And I don't care really what happens. And I'm hoping like people who use prettier will have it the same. And if there is something that you don't understand, then you can visit the changelog. But like for me, every update of prettier is the same. If it goes through the pipeline, I merge it. If it doesn't, I go format, then merge it. And yeah,
Yeah,
after that, I can consider reading the changelog. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that's not the case with TypeScript Eslint. Uh,
Yeah.
like you need to actually know that in the new version
Yeah.
there is a lot
Exactly.
of user breaking changes.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
a lot
Yeah.
of.
I mean, they have they are pretty okay with semantic versioning. They waited till this version 6 for uh, big changes, and they are a few. I believe that the major one is splitting we have the configurations, right? Recommended with type checking. Those are the two biggest ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they have split the stylistic rules from the potentially buggy rules, right? So instead of, for example, sorting of types, right? So it's only stylistic. It won't introduce any bugs into your code. But it was, for example, in recommended rule set. So they have decided to change this, and they have created a new set of the configs. So there is recommended with type checking, strict with type checking, stylistic, and stylistic with type checking. So you have to like look into what they represent, right? What the configuration is underneath, and decide if you're using the recommended or the strict rule set for
Yeah,
now. Yeah, you have to look into what has changed and what you want to have in the future. They also have dropped few of the rules which were deprecated in version 5. And there is a tip because I have to drop the rules. Go into GitHub repository and like find the documentation, and you can go by tags in GitHub View, and you can read the documentation why it was dropped. Maybe it was renamed. Maybe the same functionality is in another plugin. For example, no duplicate imports was a rule, and it's removed now because you can have the same functionality in Eslint plugin import. So they have dropped that.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are also changes in AST and other API changes. I don't think we need to dive into that because for users, the most important parts I have already discussed. There is also dropping support for Node version 12 and 14 and Eslint version 6, but this is very, very simple. So yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, like as you can see, like and we said, Prettier is easy, straightforward. Install it, use it, Prettier format. That's it. You don't configure it. With Eslint and TypeScript Eslint, you need to actually check every single day. If there's any version, if there is check that configuration. If there is a problem, you need to change it. Search for the fixes if there's any. That's a whole lot of work.
I mean, it's much harder because formatting code is simple, right? You can do it in many ways, but it will always result in the same thing. And with Eslint, for example, I remember that in my company when we take on another project that was previously developed by other team, we have our own configuration. That's like a public repository and public package, and we download it and we put it into the repository, and it's our like metric for how badly the code is written or how well the code is written. Because I remember that few times already we have installed the linter and added our configuration, and it detects like 10,000 errors. And that's because we have very strict rules, and yeah, they don't work for every project. Especially if you have a lot of code depth, you cannot apply this rule set, and unless you ignore everything, which is kind of pointless. So yeah, this is much harder, and like you said, this needs to be fine-tuned for your own repository or you're for a bad time. And that's it, I think, for the Eslint.
Yeah, that's it in my opinion also. As we're in the week of the big releases, Prisma 5.0 actually has been released this week also. That's really interesting that there are like 3 different things released on the same week with just something.0, and it's a big release. But Prisma 5 is actually introducing the changes mostly for the performance, and they're changing what they call a protocol underneath between actual connection between Prisma client and the query engine. And before they used GraphQL like protocol to communicate between each other. Right now, they actually created what they called JSON-based wired protocol. I don't know what that means. Like, I can understand JSON, which means that in the end, what they are telling us, it's like super fast. It is nearly 10 times faster even. And or 9 times faster in cold starts and on the serverless in terms of startups, etc. Like they, of course, there's smaller JS runtime, optimized internals, etc. Like Prisma just got better. It is faster, better, cheaper update, and it's nothing to elaborate more. But I love what they're doing. I'm really interested at how the JSON-based wire protocol is look like. Like, I would really like to dive deep into it to just check it out, maybe learn something new, and yeah.
I mean, for sure. Like especially in terms of serverless, the cold starts are very important, and for Prisma to be competitive and that branch of web apps, you definitely need a good cold start timings, because if you don't, then every time you like query the endpoint, takes a long time, and first of all, users suffer, and second of all, your wallet suffers. So, like you said,
Yeah,
faster, cheaper, better. Yep,
yeah,
great to see that.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's it in terms of Prisma. I don't know if
Yeah,
you have any more comments.
no, for Prisma, no. But I think like I have one cool. It's maybe not more of a tip instead of instead of news. I mean, it's a news, but it's like something cool. So Spotify has released TypeScript SDK. If you have ever used Spotify Web API, it's their API for querying the music database, and maybe you can also see what's playing on your device, get some, I don't know, information about artists or songs or something like this. And it was already available. You could create an app in their developer portal, get the SDK key, and yeah, use that. And I don't know. I know for Home Assistant, you would have to do that to have the view of your currently playing song in Home Assistant. So I already used that, but now instead of like querying API like a caveman with a REST client, you can use the SDK, which is strongly typed, and yeah, it's much easier to do that. And you can like they have even the example project where you just input proper info, and yeah, it works, printing out information about Beatles. So you can read about that, and if you have some project that has used the API before, then you can upgrade to this TypeScript SDK and like have much easier time because of the typing, because of the like everything being provided for you. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
it is cool. I can tell you that. Like, if someone wants to build, I don't know, their own web player, as an example, see
Yeah.
what's going on, or just integrate in Spotify in their enterprise level because someone may like to do it. Here you have
Yep.
it, TypeScript SDK, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
Nothing,
Exactly.
nothing more.
Nothing
Uh,
less. Yeah.
okay, I've got also. I will have two cool
Okay.
newses, and let's go with first one, which is connected with my interest. So CSS,
Oh yeah.
and right now there is a new viewport unit. Actually, there are three different viewport, let's call it sizes, units, whatsoever.
Yeah.
As far as you might remember, there were before VW, VH, VI, VB, Vimin, Vimax, like those
Yeah.
types of like viewport percentage, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The problem that they actually got it is that when you're on mobile device, mostly on the new OSs, the browsers are actually having their uh, the URL field is
Yeah.
dynamic, which is whenever you scroll it, it shrinks to be smaller.
Yeah.
And 100 VH meant that it is actually represented in the shrinked viewport. Yeah, with the
Oh, I see.
shrinked. So you actually get whenever there is everything on rolled out, yeah, which is
Yeah.
bigger
Yeah.
in terms of URL, you don't have actual 100.
Yeah.
And they actually, in the CSS working group, they worked on it and decided to add three different new viewports. And those are large viewport. So it means, hey, if there is everything, like the URL is shrinked, this is your viewport, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is small, which is actually the smaller one when everything
Yeah.
is rolled out, etc.
Yeah.
And the third one is dynamic. And dynamic
Yeah.
means that it actually can represent change. Either it is small or large. Yeah. So you have an option. In most cases, you probably will be using dynamic viewport, which is
Yeah.
DV.
Yeah.
But there's also LV and SV for large and small viewport. This is pretty
Yeah.
interesting in my opinion because I actually have been struggling
Yeah.
to calculate it properly. I
Yeah.
even made a function in CSS to just calculate it properly in my project, but I hate it already. Uh,
Yeah.
and that actually solves my issue, and I didn't know about it until end of the previous week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this on Twitter, I think, and yeah, I also agree that's very cool that we are getting these tools. Like Flexbox was the first like this, and
Yeah.
it's nice that we are following the actual cases, like how things work, right? Like we have seen that this is a problem, so we are providing a solution, and I really appreciate the approach. Yeah, so great.
Yeah, I also do like it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tip. And another, and that's maybe not the news, but rather an update to GitHub CLI. I don't know if you're using it because
Not
I
really.
do.
We are on the GitLab, sorry. So yeah, not really, but yeah, looks
So
cool.
I'm using GitHub CLI every single now and then,
Yeah,
and there was always a problem since they actually introduced new projects. So the idea of Kanban like boards. The problem for me was I don't want to go to GitHub every single time and check what's on there. Like,
yeah,
why do I need that? And I also have a lot of different projects because my company is very, very big. So I'm very happy that GitHub CLI is now having project command, which means that I can actually check every single thing and actually manage all the projects that I have access to from the
yeah,
CLI.
yeah.
So I
Very
can
cool.
view it, I can copy it, list it, create new project, create new fields, create new items, edit items, and that's actually really really cool because from now on, probably what I will be doing is asking GitHub CLI to list all the all the tasks that I have to do,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's it. And they will be connected in that way. Like I won't be even going to GitHub anymore. Like it will be just a backend with some frontend that I don't even touch,
yeah,
which I
yeah,
love.
yeah. And also, from what I have seen, they provide the JSON output, so it's pretty cool because you can use it to script things, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I think also there is a huge chance that editors could use this. I use NeoVim for my coding, so there are plugins for it, like and for Emacs the Magit thing, and
Yeah.
they can use that to get pretty cool output. So yeah, I also think that might help in an unexpected way
Yeah.
some other
For
people.
those that they are not VS Code,
Yeah,
you,
exactly,
you, you,
exactly.
you probably would like to just like the prerequisite will be hey you need to have installed the GitHub CLI and be logged
Yep,
in,
yep,
but that's a small prerequisite. In the end of
yep.
the day, you will be able to actually automate a lot of stuff. And what I do love is that actually in their blog post it says, hey, you know what? Yeah, there is a JSON format. This is how it looks like in CLI, but you know what? You can use it even in GitHub Actions, so in our CI/CD. And it was like,
Yeah,
okay, that sounds cool. Like I can actually make reports via CI/CD.
yeah. Very cool. That's very true, very true. Yeah, especially because like with GitHub Actions is, yeah, they even show it here, JQ. Yeah, so the JSON format with Bash and JQ, it works really
it's
well.
yeah,
Yeah,
it works very good, and I know
yeah,
about it. So like creating actual reports
yeah,
to get it done here, I don't need
very
anything
cool.
more. Like I will be able to just create a CI/CD, scrap all the projects, and every single week or every single month get the report what was done and what was not done. That's superb. So
Yep.
yeah, that's it for this week, I think.
Yeah, that's all from me too.
So thank you very much, guys, for
Thank you.
being during this episode with us.
Yeah,
And as we're proceeding till the end, I think we can go with an outro. And
see you guys.
see you next time. Bye.
See you.
Hey, thanks for staying till the end. This is obviously outro message with all the links and information that could help you to support us or just contact us. And we greatly appreciate both. This channel is not supported by any big company or organization, so any donation is really gonna make a big difference and will allow us to expand and provide more content like that for you. You can contact us on social media like TikTok or Instagram for now. Also, we have special email address if you'd like to reach out to us or just give us feedback. We really appreciate that and we're looking forward to hearing from you. And if you really think that we've earned it, you can buy us a coffee. Link is here. So thank you again. All the links are down in the description and see you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.